Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from the National Pythian Council and all the modern Pythian Games team. I'm Rania Lambu from Greece. I'm a global educator, STEM instructor, ICT teacher trainer, researcher, and I'm working at the Greek Ministry of Education and at the Greek Astronomy Space Company. Furthermore, I am a global ambassador of language, literary, and oratory arts, as well as education of the National Pythian Council and also the National Ambassador of Ecumenical Delphic Union. Today, it's my privilege to welcome you all to our 9th Global Virtual Conference organized by Modern Pythian Games. Modern Pythian Games is the first global cultural movement which unifies arts, cultures, and traditional sports through various national and international collaborative activities. In ancient Greece, Pythian games, which included both athletic and cultural competitions, were considered as important as Olympic Games and were dedicated to a god Apollo. God Apollo was the god of light, of poetry, and the healing arts. Today, we have renowned dignitaries from different countries: Uzbekistan, Brazil, Georgia, Gabon, North Macedonia, Indonesia, India, of course, and Greece, who will describe various aspects of the culture of the country and will provide us with ideas about how modern Pythian games can be implemented in each country. So without further ado, I request Mr. Bijender Goel, founder of Modern Pythian Games and founding secretary of the National Pythian Council, to deliver his welcoming address. Mr. Bijender Goel, we're honored to welcome you to our stage.
Thank you so much, Rania. My all friends from Indonesia, Georgia, Brazil, Gabon, North Macedonia, of course, Rania from Greece, and Uzbekistan. All respected viewers watching us online, ladies and gentlemen, I feel deeply honored while addressing all of you today as the founder of Modern Pythian Games. I want to share with you not just the exciting journey of this cultural movement, but also make an appeal to each of your nation. We are at a very critical moment in the history where modern Pythian games are gaining momentum and the potential for global cultural exchange and unity has never been seen as great as the entire world is now looking for. The Pythian games have a long history. Of course, everybody knows. Going back to the ancient Greece, Olympic Games and Pythian Games existed during same era, and both games were discontinued at the same time in the year 394 after Christ. These games celebrated human excellence, the arts, our rich culture diversity. However, for many centuries, they remained dormant, waiting for their revival. In 2022, in the heart of Greece, we reignited the spirit of Pythian games. Our goal was simple: to create a platform that includes all activities, all art forms, and expression not covered by the Olympics. And today, I'm proud to say the modern Pythian games have become a symbol of global artistic and cultural diversity. But my dear friends, modern Pythian games cannot achieve their full potential without the active involvement and contribution of your nations and you people. I appeal each of you to explore how your unique cultures, talents, and histories can play a significant role in this movement. Imagine the mesmerizing traditional music and dance of Indonesian charming audiences worldwide in the category of musical, instrumental, vocal arts. Just think of the Georgian theatre and Uzbek craftsmanship shining in the categories of performing arts, theatre arts, visual and heritage and artisan arts. Just visualize the vibrant literary tradition of Brazil and the rich Gabonese heritage finding their place in the language, literary and oratory arts category. Cultural richness of the North Macedonia can shine brightly in social and cultural arts, while Greek's architectural marvels and eco-friendly initiatives can make a profound impact in the architecture and the eco-arts category. India, with its martial art and traditional games, can excel in the martial arts and traditional games category. And let's not forget the skills of all nations in the realm of the technology-based games and esports, which fall under the technology-based games, that is esports and e-games category. Modern Pythian games are not just a competition. They are a celebration of our shared humanity. They offer a chance of nations to display their unique contribution to the world, fostering cultural exchange, understanding, and unity. So I appeal to you, my dear friends, to explore how your nations can actually participate and contribute to the modern Pythian games. Let's use this extraordinary cultural revolution to bridge divides, break barriers, and build a world where the arts, history, and our shared human experiences are celebrated as one. Together, we can elevate the modern Pythian games to new heights. Through this movement, we can create a legacy that will inspire generations to come. Thank you for your attention, and let's embark on this incredible journey of our culture celebration together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vijender, for your inspiring speech always. And now we can move with our next, actually says first guest speaker for today, Mr. Feruz Akbarov from Uzbekistan.
Definitely. Thank you very much, dear Ms. Rania, for your heartiest welcome to be aboard this wonderful group of people from all across the world. I am Feruz Akbarov, an international ESL instructor with 14 plus years of teaching experiences across many different countries. I'm the founder of Global Initiative, now popularly known as ETA Uzbekistan, which is for English teachers. And I'm also the initiator of a number of brand new trailblazing projects in the field of education. So I am, in short, a global educator. And that's why I'm privileged to be part of this virtual conference. Speaking of art, in short, art is life. And life is full of art. This is so wonderful definition in brief, in short, which has loads of profound meaning in it. My good friends, all of us were raised and born in different countries, and we were raised with different forms of art. If you look at India, its business card is Taj Mahal, which is a climax of architecture, one of the pinnacles of construction in the world. And if you look in Egypt, they have Egyptian pyramids that date back to a millennia that still dazzle millions of people, and more importantly, the scientists who are trying to unravel the secrets behind those giant structures. And if you look elsewhere, like the Great Wall of China, or the Christ Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. So every part of the world has something to boast, and Greece is phenomenal in that regard. It's like a museum under open sky. So that's the best definition for everything that Greece has contributed to the world, culture and art. But art is not just about architecture and sculpture, but it's also about various forms of painting. And when we think of painting, the best image that comes before our eyes is none other than Mona Lisa, which impressed millions of people worldwide. Perhaps there are some few names that could go around the world, even a person who is not educated may be well aware of who Mona Lisa is. At least they could recognize that picture because it is world famous. And given the popularity of that painting, we could assume that art is far greater tool to make people connected, to make people united, to make people have something in common as a common ground to come together, to cooperate, to collaborate. And for centuries, people, nations, countries, empires, kingdoms, they had different ways to connect with the outside world. Just look at the Great Silk Road. That was a trade route that connected the entire Eurasia, stretching all the way from the Far East in China and going all the way to Europe, somewhere in Italy. So that's a whole two different continents, but are well connected in the ancient times through the caravan routes. And that was just another great example of how people could get connected. And art definitely played its role because various forms of art exhibits were carried along these trade routes and were exchanged in different trade centers. And I am a proponent, I'm in favor of bringing various forms of art into the school curricula, because that's the place where we could teach the students, especially the younger students, that we are studying at school not just for the sake of gaining some sort of information, which may not be relatable to the real world, but we're there to realize that the world is far more intriguing and interesting than what the monotonous textbooks could offer. So we could invite our students to have their first experience in applied arts. We could have special art classes where students could, integrate art into their day-to-day lives, and then later integrate it back into their communities or societies at large. And thus, they will start, cherishing and appreciating what art is and how powerful message it could convey across the nations, that art is boundless. Art doesn't know any boundary, because any form of art in Africa could easily transcend the borders of the entire continent and could be well integrated somewhere in Central Asia, or some form of art in India could be well accepted somewhere in Brazil as part of their Grand Carnival. Why not? I know that some types of Indian dancers, or even Indian sari, which is popularly worn by Indian females, can be modified by fashion designers and worn somewhere in different parts of the globe. So this is how the different kinds of forms of art and culture come into coexistence. And that's where we as a human, we as a different citizen could be well integrated into a global community and become a true global citizens. So my final message is, through different forms of art, we could foster the real 21st century global citizens in our young generation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was an amazing speech. Art is boundless, as you said. The art of life is that life is art. I love this quote because the duality of our living life. It's this, we are always the creating and the created at the same time. Our life reflects our inner world. It is painted by our thoughts, feelings, intentions, aspirations. We are created as we create ourselves. We create as we are being created. Thank you so much. I hope we collaborate within the framework of your pioneering projects and involve students also in this, because you know very well that arts are underestimated, underrated in the school curriculum in many countries, including Greece also. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.
For this wonderful speech. And let's move on now to Miss Tamar from Georgia. Miss Tamar.
To express my gratitude towards dear Rania for inviting me to attend and meet so many wonderful people all around the world. I'm Tamer Lolishvili, a teacher of critical thinking and an international project manager from a private school, IHS. Just stands from Georgian English Spanish School from Georgia, which is located, the school is located in Tbilisi. And I have prepared a visual resource, and I would like to share it for you as well. Together with my slide, I will keep talking about Georgia. I will try my best to just introduce my country. At the same time, the culture and the activities that will promote to the just international virtual conference, I'm pretty sure. As I have already mentioned, I'm from Georgia. So generally we call it Sakartvelo, but internationally it is Georgia. Some people, so some nations call different names, but we call our name Sakartvelo, and I'm Kartveli. So to talk about the location of Georgia, in fact, I was in the USA attending teacher exchange programs, and they most people I met thought that I was from the state of Georgia, from the USA. Actually, I'm from Georgia, I'm from Sakartvelo, and it's a transcontinental country at the intersection of Eastern Europe and Western Asia. So we are from I'm from very, very tiny country, about 4 million people live in Georgia. It's so people call it a tiny paradise. And basic facts about my country are the following. We have our own language. We have our own alphabet. Among a very few alphabets, Georgian alphabet is very, very unique and the oldest. Mostly regarding to our religion, we are Orthodox, but we really care about the minorities as well. Our motto is strength is in unity. And now what I want to share is that we are a very hospitable country. And so this picture indicates and highlights the fact that the oldest human remains that archaeologists found was dates back to 1.8 million years ago. So it's the Homo georgicus. So we called them Zezva and Zia. So this is these are our first Europeans, and the fact that we had our first tourists in 13th or just 10th centuries before Christ is worth sharing. And we do know that we have a lot in common with Greek culture. In fact, the picture shows a scene from one of the most famous legends called Golden Fleece. So we had our Greek tourists back centuries ago. And so it highlights the fact that we are very hospitable people. Here I have brought, and I would like to share for you dance of Georgian students, of my students. These students attended a World Peace Award ceremony in Sweden. Now I would like, if you let me share it, I will gladly share Georgian dance that my students danced. And at the same time, I have to mention that these students don't belong to dance clubs or dance, they don't attend dance lessons. Each and every Georgian has this kind of inborn talent that they want to show to the world. So I will share it for you. So these students are, this hall itself is Nobel Peace Ceremony Award, so room. So actually, the fact is that by attending the conferences, by organizing the Rania, thank you very much, by organizing such conferences, we share our culture and we really promote peace building. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mar. I want to say that Mr. Mar works at the Global Peace Institute.
Male costume called chocha.
Yes, exactly.
I was in Georgia, so they took me for a Georgian. I look like Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope I will visit Georgia, me too. Now, I would like to call upon our next speaker from North Macedonia, Mr. Igor Bogdanovsky.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests. Thank you for joining me today to explore the rich tapestry of the art and culture in my country, and to try to discuss how the concept of modern Pythian games can play a pivotal role in promoting artists and, of course, arts and schools. Let's tell something about me. I'm Igor Bogdanovsky. I'm a math teacher, and I also Scientix ambassador and Microsoft Innovative Teacher expert. And this year, I will try to incorporate art and music, especially in my teaching classes with mathematics. And I'm certainly sure that this modern approach will allow me to do that with great success. Let's start our part. I will summarize that in 4 key points. First, I will talk about artists and arts and culture in my country. Then I will try to speak shortly about modern Pythian games and connection with my country, promoting artists and players as a goal of the games, and I will conclude my presentation. Let me begin by painting the picture of a vibrant arts and culture scene in my country. From centuries-old tradition to contemporary expressions, our nation is a mosaic of artistic diversity. Our cultural heritage includes literature, music, dance, visual arts, and many more forms of the arts. One of the first artists that I will mention is Nicola Martinovsky, who lived at the beginning of last century, and he was well-known Macedonian painter with a Romanic ethnicity. One of his famous paintings, because is the middle one, the mother and the child. The interesting thing is the fact that the painting was started in 1930, but not completed until 1960. That is the 30 years of history in our country and the life of the painter in that picture. Also in this slide, you can see the bride, the left picture. That is from 1937, and it is oil painting, and Stilissimo, the right one. The Martinovsky painting style was influenced by medieval fresco art and modern Parisian school crisscross. Macedonia, my country, is one of the largest collection of the floor mosaics in the world. There is no archaeological site from the Roman or early Christian times, from Stekina Cheshma near Valandovo to Bargala at outskirts of the Štip, which doesn't have this kind of decoration. For example, in the picture, from the left one, you can see the mosaic that is on the obverse of our national 5,000 dinars note. And on the right side, there is also one of the biggest mosaics in my country. Our artists have left an incredible mark on the global stage, producing renewed poets, painters, musicians, and performers. They drew inspiration from our landscape that can be seen from one of the picture that can be also seen on a cover page of National Geographic. On the picture, you can see our ancient theater in Ohrid. One interesting fact that below the stage of this ancient theater, there are tunnels leading to the houses nearby. Our cultural festival and events often stepped into tradition, provide a platform for artists to showcase their talent. Those gatherings bring community together, foster a sense of unity and belonging. In the rapidly evolving world we are living in today, we must adapt to new opportunities and challenges, like one we work on today. In the picture also, you can see the Plaušnik, the second oldest university in Europe that is situated in the beautiful Ohrid. This is the lake view of Ohrid town. That is one of the oldest human settlement in Europe, built mainly between the 7th and 8th century. Some of the festivals that can be worked are Manaki Brother Films Festival, that is proudly one of the world's oldest and festival celebrating the work and cinematographics from around the world, that is established in 1979. This event was inspired by Yanaki and Milton Manaki, the Macedonian brothers who pioneered the 20th century filmmaking in the Balkans, with their documentaries and photographic art, some of which was made in early 1940, the beginning of previous century. Also, one of the most fascinating events in our country is Galečnik Wedding Festival. Galečnik is situated in postcard perfect mountain village in northwest Macedonia. The festival is a combination of tradition, local customs, and heritage, taking place once of the year over a 2-day period in July. The origin of the festival is that at the beginning of the 20th century, Galečnik has had only 5,000 residents. And this is a brief, short history. I will, in other time, I will explain briefly on that. Also, we have a St. Sophia. They have 3 pictures throughout the history of that place, because St. Sophia is one of the unique places that is now a hall used by Ohrid Summer Festival that have great acoustics inside. First picture is in the mosque in 1863, and the right one is the exterior of the church here courtside. One of the interesting things about this place is because the unit action from all countries from the region, they saved this church because that is near the disaster. And what here we can do with modern Pythian games? Promoting artists and players, we can explore the modern Pythian games. I divided that. Promoting can be placed in 5 different areas. Showcasing talent, the games can serve as a grand stage for artists to showcase their skill, music, dance, visual arts, and other creative performance. Then, as a cultural exchange, just as athletes compete in various sports, artists from different regions can participate, fostering the cultural exchange and collaboration. This cross-pollution of ideas can lead to innovative and captivate art forms. Promote cultural tourism, hosting the modern Pythian games in different cities across our nation can promote cultural tourism. Visitors can explore local art galleries, museums, and historical sites, enrich the understanding of our culture. Supporting emerging talent throughout the scholarship, grants, and other programs, the modern Pythian games can provide critical support to emerging artists and athletes, and also media exposure. The games can attract media global coverage, ensuring that our artists and players gain international recognition. And as a conclusion, the modern Pythian games offer a promising avenue to celebrate and promote arts and culture in my country. By embracing the concept, we can harness the power of creativity to our nation worldwide. And finally, thank you for the opportunity to share this with you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Igor. We learned so much we didn't know about North Macedonia. Really, it was a wonderful presentation. I learned a lot, me too. And also, you highlighted the important aspects of modern Pythian games, how it helps to showcase talents, how to support emerging talents, how to promote the cultural exchanges, cultural tourism, and media exposure. Many important aspects and benefits of the modern Pythian games. We would like to have you in our team. Thank you so much for your presentation, and I would like to have you also another time here invited as guests. Thank you very much. Now, I think it's time to move to our next speaker, keynote speaker from Brazil. Miss Beatriz, I think you have a lot to say about sports, maybe in Brazil.
Thank you.
Let's motivate us.
Thank you, Rania. Dr. Rania for inviting me here. Thanks to the International Virtual Conference, and thank also to the other dear friends. The importance of sport in our country is culture. Brazil is a country now for its rich cultural heritage and its passion for sport. The connection between just 2 aspects of Brazilian life has been the subject of much research and analysis. Sports plays a significant role in Brazil culture, and the importance it's both historical and social cultural. Soccer, in particular, is the most popular sport in Brazil. Brazil is product of the achievement in several sports, including swimming, sailing, athletics, and judo. The majority of the population follows in the participation in various sports. Sports have a strong heritage in Brazilian culture, and soccer is in particular has become a significant part of Brazilian heritage. Charles Miller, I believe, to have brought soccer to Brazil, and there are many theories and stories about how soccer arrived in Brazil. The culture of Brazil, soccer is taken very serious, and winning is highly valued. Capoeira is another culturally significant sport in Brazil. It was developed by serfs during colonial times to secret improve their fighting skills. Today is a practiced international and has gained popularity through its representation in computer games and movies. Soccer often an opportunity for Brazilians to meet new people and socialize in the others who share a passion for the sport. It is national sport that brings together the Brazilian population, regardless of the age, race, gender, identity, culture, and socio-economic level. International events such as the World Cup offering an opportunity for Brazilians to unite and support their national soccer team. Basketball and volleyball are also popular teams sports in Brazil, and the Brazilian basketball and volleyball teams have active success in international competition. Children in Brazil learning about soccer from their parents, families, and school. It is often taught it in school during gaming or physical education class. Sport has the power to unite the most different people, cultures, and religions. Talking about culture is difficult because each region has a specific culture. But sport and education have the power to unite all culture and the same time. In conclusion, sport, especially soccer, basketball, and volleyball, are an essential part of Brazilian culture and the lives of the people who are bem Welden champion. Again, thanks for the and best regards to all. Thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you very much. Reminding us that Brazil is the fairyland of sports. And it's not a secret, of course, that Brazilians have a special connection to soccer, as you said, but we aren't aware of the country's passion for other sports. There are some great sporting events in Brazil, such as volleyball or basketball, for example. And this championship bring together thousands of fans because there is a wide television coverage, and you find there are stadiums with full of people, especially on the weekends. And I know that sports there are celebrated as a way of getting together with friends and family, as well as a time to relax. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to collaborating with you. You're doing a million things. I'm repeating
Thank you
again in Brazil, and it's a great honor to have you. Great honor to have you. Thank you. Now we can move to the next speaker, Ms. Mireille Tulekima. Actually, she's from Gabon, but lives in Australia.
Thank you, Rania, for the invitation. It is always a pleasure to be able to, to talk about, culture, especially share, the culture that I come from. Yes, I'm like you said, I'm based in Australia, but I'm originally from Gabon, and I'm going to talk about Gabon today. I am an engineer, an entrepreneur, so that's what brought me here. But I'm also what I call a diplomat of STEM and energy, because I've worked in the energy sector for more than 25 years now. But I'm also an educator because I mentor. I also, help the young generation as far as those sectors are concerned. So Gabon is my country of origin. I've lived in different countries, and art has been, somehow, and the culture, the different culture are part of my upbringing. But I always go back to my to where it all started, and it all started in Gabon. Gabon is a former French colony based in West Africa. We are on the Atlantic coast, just on the equator. And we are bordered in the north by Cameroon and a country called Equatorial Guinea, and in the east and in the south by Congo. So Congo is probably most well known. The population is very small. We are, as of today, 2 million people. So it is quite a small country, and the particularity of Gabon is most of the country, 2/3 of the country is still rainforest. So people live on the coast. So they live on the west coast, a northern area as well. So they basically, because the forest is in the middle, so people live around. So and most of the people are actually concentrated in the western coast, which is on the ocean, and that's where I come from. So I come from we have a lot of tribes, up to I think more than 50, but they are big groups. One of them is the one that I come from, which is called Fang, F-A-N-G. And we also have the Teke, which we find as well because the fungus actually, the way the border were actually manufactured were not very, very good, because they basically put the border in the middle of people who have, similar language, similar culture. So the Fang that I come from, you actually find them in majority as well in Equatorial Guinea, but also in Cameroon, and some of them in Congo as well. And the second big group is the Punu. You find them in the south, and also in the eastern part. And they actually come all the way from from up to Kenya, up to all the country like Zimbabwe. So those are the same people that migrated to Gabon, and then when they put the borders, when the colonizer came, they just cut, those civilization by. So it's a bit tricky. For example, the funds that I come from, history trace them back to Egypt. So there's a lot of similarity with what's happening in Egypt, especially the indigenous Egyptian. So that's part of where we are traced back. So we've moved into Gabon, at a certain point. And the history of Gabon is a bit complex, because we don't really know before the colonizer came what happened, but what we know is that the pygmies, so those are the people that are really short people, were the indigenous, and then the Fang that came from Egypt actually came to Gabon and also settled there, and then the Bantu came. And at some point we actually had a Portuguese influence, and that's where the name of Gabon is coming from, because it's coming from the Portuguese name Gabão, which is actually what do you call it in English? Is kind of a raincoat. So it was because of the rainforest. So when the Portuguese came, in I think they actually realized, oh, it looks like a raincoat, so we're going to call it Gabão, which became Gabon when the French came in. So we had the last colonizer were the French, so that's why we call ourselves former French colony. But we can still see, and not far from Gabon, there's a small country called Sao Tome, and they speak Portuguese. And that's, after Gabon, they basically settle in Sao Tome, some of the Portuguese families. So a very rich, very rich history, and that's really created a melting pot. And one of the things that, that's happening right now, there's a lot of, we've lost a lot of our culture actually to the, assimilating it more to the French culture. I still remember, back when because I did study, primary school and part of secondary school in Gabon. We still had a strong history, we were taught our history, and a lot of, the knowledge was still there, but with time, it's been lost, in school. It's now more about, the assimilation with French, and really losing all the, the traditional aspect of things, which is the culture. And they were, traditional games that were coming from different, areas that we've completely lost, to now, embracing more of the football, basketball, and things that are coming from, other countries, especially, the Western countries. So that's really what, what we've lost in a way. And one game that I particularly like in Gabon, and I think could actually be a good thing to revive as part of this project, is what we call the Sogo. The Sogo is actually a game. It is played on a Mekele board, and you just need two players. And what you do is, at each end there is a big store for, to capture the different counters, and each house contains 5 stones called Sogo, and a player controls the row on this side of the board. And you just, I think it's a bit like some kind of chess, but not really, with different rules that used to be played. And they had tournaments in the villages. They had world championship on, of Sogo, that were really good, and especially for the intellectual mind, that that was creating what this Pythagorean spirit that we're talking about here. So that's something I think if we that I really want to see revive, because it is, it is it's traditional, but at the same time, it is also helping, developing, the strategic mind, developing how to, it's also a way of connecting, as community, or connecting with different people. So that's something that I really see as a good thing that could be revived and will bring, a particular identity for Gabon in terms of, those Pythagorean game that the project that you started. And that's really what I wanted to share here, is that, those things are there, but it's just that with, the French influence, and with losing, losing the history, because it's not taught anymore. It's not compulsory like it used to be when, I went to school there. We lost, those particularity that were actually giving an identity, but also, providing another way to connect, another way to, to bring diversity as well. And that's really something that needs to be revived. There are other games as well that they do in the South, and then it's the one-to-one fight. It's just like it's not like sumo, but it's some type of fight where the men are fitter, and stronger with muscles that happen and we used to have it as well in the eastern part, which is the part where with the border with Congo. So we had a lot of that as well. That could also be something that can be revived as well. I know that in Senegal they have something similar that's still going on, but it's not as popular as it used to be in the in the past. And in Gabon, I think they don't really do it anymore, but that's something as well that was really well regarded, especially, in the different villages and the big communities back then. So a lot of opportunity to revive, and come back to this Pythagorean spirit that we're trying to promote here. Just to bring, the Gabonese culture on the map, and really, get to revive those games that were really, helping the community to connect and bring joy and happiness as well, because they were also, the game were also done for, celebration sometime. And really, bringing the right spirit and the right energy to the community. So I think that's really what I wanted to share. There's, the cultural aspect is also vast, but I don't think in the interest of time I can share. We have, I just want to share the mask, the several we have from several culture in Gabon, the mask. And one of the particularity in, when we look at the mask is, for example, the mask that come from, my tribe, they are more masculine mask and really elongated, elongated type. So because it's a patriarchal, a patriarchal tribe. And then if you go in the South, where it's more matriarchal, you see more mask of women and, more, variety in terms of representing women. So that's I think the way that you can know, okay, is it a patriarchal or is it matriarchal tribe? And so and there's really a lot of you can really distinguish between all of that to know exactly are you in a matriarchal part or are you in the patriarchal part? But the masks that they're using, and those masks are used, for ceremonial. It can be, for weddings. It can be for what we call because what we do when someone die. Normally after one or several years, we don't actually have to basically send them on the other side, and it comes with a celebration. And that's when you have those masks, people wearing those masks and dancing and coming up, which is a celebration in a way to send the person to the other side. So really, strong and very rich culture that can actually really, enrich, what we're trying to do here.
Oh, thank you so much. Now I would like to call upon Ms. Bijendra Goel for the concluding remarks. Ms. Bijendra Goel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rania. It was really wonderful listening. Everybody from Uzbekistan talked about Taj Mahal. He talked about Egypt, pyramid. Igor, he told us how we can collaborate in searching the talents, cultural exchanges, cultural tourism. Beatriz from Brazil talked about a lot of sports. Nino talked about Georgia. Merili, she's from Gabon. She told us about the game Sogo. So in conclusion, I would like to say Pythian game is the unique idea. If you see, it is a fusion of art, culture and sports. There is no such idea existing in the world at the moment and before this. If you talk about the Olympics, they talk about only the sports. And there are so many organizations around the world, they're doing activities in the arts. But we are inspired by the ancient Pythian games, and the ancient Pythian games was the fusion of art, culture and sports always. And we are focusing on the not only art and culture activities, especially in the field of music, in the performing arts, visual arts, language arts, digital arts, architecture. We are also focusing only on traditional games, which is not part of the Olympic Games. We want to connect each artist everywhere in the world through these virtual platforms, and then to execute the all events physically everywhere. That's why the Pythian Games has getting momentum around the world, and it has spread more than 100 countries now. Modern Pythian game has created its own media network now. We are under process. And this process will make every artist to express their art. They can speak, they can express to the world about what they are doing. This all movement will take to the new world, and it is going to be a big revolution in coming times and for the coming generation. Thank you so much. Thank
you, Mr. Bijendra Goel, for your motivating speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to congratulate all the Mondial Pythian Games team for the organization of the 9th Global Virtual Conference. I would like to thank our respected eminent guests, speakers from different countries who honored us today, who shared their views, who gave us ideas, and thank also Mr. Bijendra Goel and Mr. Panos Kaltsis, who are the two visionaries of this first global cultural movement. So let's renew our appointment for next week with new guests and new cultures. Thank you very much.